Okay, now that we've gone through a couple of different test creations here and using some of the different options, we can move on to making the test available and changing some of the settings for the actual tests for when the students take those tests or quizzes. So I'm going to click into test 1, and you'll notice that you have 5 different tabs at the top of your test creation or the test options here. So you can continue adding questions and kind of doing what we did in the last 2 instructional videos. But we are concentrating on changing this from unavailable to available. Right now, students, it is hidden from the students. They are not able to see it, not able to take this particular test. But we want to change that. We have a number of different options. You need to click on the Settings tab next to the questions at the top of the page. You have a spot here for additional instructions for the test. And here's where we see availability. You can change it from Hide Now, meaning it's completely and totally unavailable to these students in this course. If you want, at the beginning of the administration of the test, you can click Available Now, and then when the test is done, you can go back and click Hide Now. If you leave it open, if there's an absent student, and you leave it open, the student can go in any time and take that test. So you need to be aware of the different options and how they function. If you wanted to automatically do those the times, you can make it available now at the beginning of the test until a certain time in the period. So if they have 35 minutes to take the test, you give the instructions verbally. You say, well, it's going to take 35 minutes. You make it available now, or from the beginning of the test to 35 minutes from that point. You can go available from and until, so you can actually set this up before class the night before and say, okay, 8:20, I want the test to open, and I want to close at 9:06, and you can do that. And then back to Hide Now. So we're going to just make it available now and choose, is there a time limit? If we choose yes, how many minutes do we want to have it available? Or I'm not available, but how many minutes do we want to give those students to take that test? How many times can they attempt this particular test? If you want to kind of regulate that after the fact, just click 1 time. And then if they need to retake it, you can set it up for 2 times, 3 times, that sort of thing. And there are other options as far as retakes are concerned as well. Randomize the order of the questions. That's completely up to you. If you do that, then it's not going to be in the same order for everyone else. Now, if you remember back to our test creation, we created, let's say, fill in the blank and matching. Those count as 1 question. So when you pick randomize order, they might get a true and false question, a multiple choice question, then the matching question, then another multiple choice question. There's a number of different ways. So if you don't want that to happen, you have it broken up in sections, then you may not want to choose randomize order. But if it is completely and totally a multiple choice test, randomizing the order wouldn't hurt. Okay, using page breaks, you can put 1 question per page, or using the page breaks that you created within the test. So if we've already created some page breaks, we'll use the page breaks that we already created. We don't need to make it 1 question per page. Language keyboard, so we only have Spanish imported because that's the only language we teach other than English at DGF, so we have that option. So the Spanish teacher can use that setting. Question review, do you want them to review the question before they submit? So basically, at the end of the test, they have to submit it almost twice. They submit it, and then it asks them, it shows them their test, and then asks them if they're sure. So it's up to you. Resumable, if it's going to take more than 1 day, you can click yes, so they can click out of it and go back later on. View submissions, you have 2 options here. So after they have submitted, you can have they can get their instant feedback, on the multiple choice and matching questions. So you can allow that. If you know that they're going to retake it, you can just put yes, and it'll show them which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong. That might help them review for the next time they take it, or not at all. Printing options. This is for the short answer and essay question. You can customize how many blanks they get for each of the short answers or essay questions. And then at the bottom, you need to make sure you save changes so those settings all get transferred to that particular test. All right. That should be it. Actually, there's one other thing that I want to go over as far as the test settings. If you do want to do retakes, another option for retakes is when you're on your course page and you see your test or quiz there, if you go over to the settings wheel, you have an opportunity to edit. So if the kids have already taken this test, and you have a couple students that maybe need to retake, you can certainly go open up the edit, the test quiz option, and you can individually assign that test or quiz to any student. So when you start typing your student in there, their name will come up and you can assign it to specific students. The problem with this, and what you need to be aware of, is that when those 2 kids or 3 kids or how many ever are done taking that test, you need to go back into this edit online test or quiz and delete them from this line. If you don't, only their test scores will show up in the grade book. So you have to make sure that it's no longer, or though that test is no longer individually assigned to those students.